I'm turning off 31 onto Kayo Rd. Back in the late 70s, I believe the gas station here was called the Kayo, and I think it's now Sunoco gas station. It's been Big A at one time over the years, but this is a pretty bumpy road that we're on. We used to ride back here when I was in high school back in the late 70s, and to be honest with you, it was a pretty spooky place back in those days. It's about 7:15 in the afternoon, and probably 45 minutes away from being dark. I didn't want to wait till it was too dark before we rode back here. I don't think Teresa wanted to cares a whole lot about riding in this area, but I hadn't been back in here in a good long while. I see the railroad track. Now it has a rail crossing and lights, and I'm not sure it had either one when we used to ride back in here. We used to come back in here late at night, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and like I said, it was kind of a scary time, and of course there was usually somebody back here hiding somewhere to jump out or try to scare somebody. A lot of activity in this area back in those days. This road, I'm guessing, is probably 3.5 to 4 miles going from 31, and when you get to the end of this road, it comes back out on Burleson Mountain Road, and then it turns into Indian Hills. If you turn right, you'll go back into Hartselle, come back out by Bethel Church. A lot of hunting back in this area now. I think there's some of the hunting land that's rented out. There's trash somebody's thrown out on the side of the road. I don't know why in the world people do that, but you can just imagine riding down through here late at night and pitch dark. The only thing that's lit up is the headlights of your vehicle. I remember sometime back in probably the late 80s, early 90s, Dr. George Twinney, who was a local psychiatrist and counselor, came to our church at Gum Springs Baptist and shared with us some things that had been at least rumored when I was growing up to be going on back here. And of course, Dr. Twinney had interviewed patients and talked to different people, and even at that time, he said the Morgan County Sheriff's Department had confirmed some of the things that had taken place back in here, and he showed a slideshow of some of the satanic rituals that had taken place in this area. And if half of what he was telling was true, and I have no reason to believe he'd be lying about it. But if half of that was true, there was some pretty scary stuff going on back in those days. I remember one night Bobby Gordon and Brian Johnson and myself were riding back in this area, and coming up here in probably a half a mile or so is a curve in the road, but I don't remember exactly what was the reason that Bobby stopped his car and told Brian to get out and do something. And of course Brian opened the door and stepped out, and when he did, Bobby, he floored it and took off. And I don't think Brian appreciated that a whole lot, and I know I sure was scared for him. I was sure glad it wasn't me that got out. But we went up the road there a piece and turned around and came back and picked him up, and Brian was just a little bit unhappy. You can see where that van is coming from. He just come around that curve, and that's where Bobby had stopped at. Also, if you just look straight ahead, back 40 years ago, there was an old house that stood back in those woods and had all sorts of graffiti and different symbols on that house. And of course, as you come down this road, your light would shine right on it. And it was just a little bit unnerving to see all that. And just right around the curve here is kind of a famous place over the years called Crybaby Hollow. And of course the old story is that a lady, her baby died, and you could lay something on this bridge that we're going over right here, and late at night you could hear the baby crying. Of course, a lot of old tales over the years. As we're heading on up the road here, we'll come back out in an area that's really grown over the last 15 years or so. Lots of houses going up, and Morgan County, just about everywhere you go, any land that's been available has been bought, and houses and subdivisions and things like that are going up everywhere. And hey, that's progress, so that's okay, I guess. Some of those houses are coming into view right here. Just some very beautiful places people have built over the years. Like I said, when we get to the end of this road, if you take a right, you'll go back toward Hartselle, come out on Indian Hills Road, but if you take a left, you'd go back toward what used to be Indian Hills Golf Course. Of course, that's been shut down for probably 20 years or so, and there is a huge project going on there where somebody bought